Okay, so in part 4, I am going to discuss about a very important word, and the word is called het. Het. Okay, het means a tree, wood, a pole, timber, a stick, okay, or a rod, okay, meaning that the rod of Moses was called a what? A het, okay, because Moses was Egyptian. He was an Israelite who was raised in Egypt. So the word that Moses, okay, Moses, who was very prolific for having a rod, okay, in the Old Testament, the book of Exodus, okay, and it was through this rod that he was able to split the seas into two, all right? So you have the word het, meaning tree, wood, pole, timber, a stick, or a rod, all right? Now, this is, of course, from Fergus Sharman. You can see his name up there. And you can see that, he didn't include that, but I included that. In my language, East Africa, Ekegusi Bantu, the word het does not change that much. It becomes rete, rete. The only thing that happens here is the phonetic variation is that, you know, it gains a vowel. And that's not uncommon for one word to be transported to another language. It will sometimes undergo a phonetic variation. Lose a consonant or lose a vowel, gain a vowel or gain a consonant, okay? So it's not that much different in Ekegusi Bantu, okay? Het, rete. Then Fergus Sharman makes the association between the Kiswahili Bantu, which is really the leaves, you know, of coconut palms. They used to make roofs in the coast, and it's called kuti. Of course, they're stick-like, okay? They're very stick-like, kuti. And in Kibemba Bantu, kati means a root or a piece of wood, okay? And you will also see that in Kisonga Bantu, kwati is a forest, okay? In Kisilozi Bantu, a tree or wood is kota, all right? In Kibemba Bantu, which I already talked about, it's kati. So you will see that these words in Bantu language, they're not that different from ancient Egyptian. That's another root word. So if anyone ever asked you what the rod of Moses was called, just go straight to Bantu. Hete, ancient Egyptian, het. And that pronunciation is likely to change because this kind of writing accommodated for people to add their own vowels. That's why you will see in some languages it's kuti, and with some it's kete, and some it's kota, you know, which is okay. And that is what a phonetic variation is. All right. Now, when we move over to the word that represents het, which was really a rod, a tree, a pole, a timber. Now, how does this relate to what I discussed in part 3 with the word rika? Okay. Now, in my language, if you take the word rika and you combine with the word het, which is very characteristic of Bantu languages, which work with agglutinative morphology, meaning that you join two words to create one. It's very simple, okay? Don't let the big vocabulary scare you. You just take two words and create one word. Kind of like how now in slang they have words like when you combine a mom and a manager, you get momager. All right? Now, let me introduce you to a new term, okay, by other authors. All right? And here I'm going to introduce to you E.A. Wallace Barge, okay, where he uses the combination of the word raki and het. In my language, the combination of raki and ket would be something like a writing stick, a measuring stick, an understanding stick, okay? All right. So it's pretty simple. You just join the words to create one word. All right. Now, let me introduce Wallace Barge here, and you will see what he calls the rod that was used by the magicians in Egypt. Remember, Pharaoh's court had the magicians, right? And then they also had Moses and his brother Aaron, all right? Okay, so we do see that in his book, From Fetish to God in Ancient Egypt by E.A. Wallace Barge, he talks about Ramesses II, okay, who had his sister-in-law who was sick, or basically what they say, possessed by the devil. So I'm going to read an excerpt here for you. When Ramesses II wanted to dispatch a magician priest to drive out the devil from his wife's sister in Bactane, he summoned his officials and told them to produce not only a rekiket. Remember that word? We've just discussed rek and ket. To produce a rekiket. That is one who knew the things of magic, but a priest, that is one who knew the things of magic, but a priest who was trained in the mind and whose fingers were instructed in writing, all right, and in the manipulation of magical instruments, and who was an associate or the scribe of the house of life. Okay, so we see E.A. Wallace Barge talk about a rekiket, and in this regard, it was used by the physician or the magician as a divining rod, similar to what Moses did with his rod. Okay, it is a form of divining. Okay, but this was from the Most High. So you do see that rod in itself was called a rekiket. And what the magicians also used was called a rekiket. In my language, it's rikakete, meaning a writing stick, okay? Or even a stick of understanding, a stick that you can calculate with. Remember, this rekiket, or the het in itself, the rod, was multi-purpose, okay? All these priests and magicians had them. So, in his book, Ancient Egypt and Black Africa, that's Dr. Theophille Obenga's book, you will see that over here. What does he say? For the ancient Egyptians, mathematics, recht, which is RHT or rechet, number for mathematics, deal with studying the entirety of nature, concrete reality, as well as enigmas and mysteries of the universe. Now, do you remember he uses the word rechet for numbers? Do you remember that I told you in the Ekegusi Bantu language that the word rika is to weigh, to measure, to count, or to wrestle? Okay, remember that? Now, when we come down to what Dr. Theophille Obenga, describes as rechet, it's really a combination of two words again. The rech and the het to create the concept of a number. Now, in my language, that word rechet becomes rigete. Rigete. Rigete means it is written, or that which is written. Okay? So, ultimately, the underlying meaning does not change in Kibantu. Why then are they so adamant on putting this language as an Afro-Asiatic language? What does Afro-Asiatic even mean? Was there a man called Afro-Asia who gave birth to Afro-Asiatics? Because I can tell you there was a man called Bantu or Muntu who gave birth to their Bantu. So, I feel ultimately at the end of the day, I'm not saying that the ancient Egyptian language only belongs to the Bantu, but it's heavily embedded with Bantu proto-root words. It's undeniable. Now, I wish that we would have more scholars in the future from different tribes, whatever other tribes there are, to come forth, and show us the connection between their language and ancient Egyptian, because for so long we've been made to feel inferior, okay, like we're nothing. But those who have stolen our sciences and our arts, okay, descendants of thieves, know exactly who we are, okay? So tune in for Part 5. Bye. Toodles.